Welcome to Gen Z Journey. Today we welcome Usha together with us on a podcast. So Usha is born in Malaysia in the year 1997. She studied economics and finance at the University of London, and she participated in various youth initiatives across the world, such as Cairo Society, Young South Asia, East Asian Leaders Initiative, USALI, Asiata Youth Talent Program, AYTP, and she founded Blueprano Asia Ventures, a Asia Pacific region focused incubator. So, did I miss out on any things that you would like to add on?
No, it's called Wisely, but it's okay.
Wisely. Okay, yes. I was gonna ask you like, did I pronounce it correctly? Because I was like questioning myself, like I don't know how to
No,
pronounce that.
everyone gets it. They get a different name for it. Yeah.
I see, very interesting. But can I ask you why did you choose economic finance and what was your plan back then?
So I'm born in a family where it's all, I've got three siblings, and then they're all boys. So they were all equally passionate and interested. Hey, engineering excites me, Yeah, I love physics, I love maths. And then they go on and venture engineering, and then they have become, most of them working in the marine sector somehow, oil and gas. But for my side, like I love physics and maths as well. But growing up, I decided, hey, I want a different field. Like I love pursuing physics and I love additional mathematics, but I don't like the idea of just pursuing a degree in on it, and then it's just like a methodological study, as a subject, right? But I want something different, which is the business world. I wanted to learn about it because as I ventured in the startup scene, I decided that the one thing that's lacking in me, besides the technical side, would definitely be the business world, right? So then I decided I need to perhaps take up a different field. Then my dad told me, hey, why not, go for law, right? Then I decided law is going to take a long year, and it's going to be like 5 years. I don't want to do that. Then I decided it's fine. I'll just go with economics, and then I want to learn about the world and how finance works and how money works. So then I decided, let's just take up economics. Yeah. Mm.
Interesting. So like what was your plan back then? Like do you like have you planned out what you were gonna do after coming out of university and all that?
No, no. Not at all, not at all. So when I first started, like once I graduated from my secondary school, which is from SPM, right? So what happened was life took a twist and a turn when I was applying for this, so like Asian family, right? Everybody would love to
Yeah.
apply for scholarships. That's how it is, right? So when I was applying for a scholarship, so I bumped into this thing called Global Startup Youth ASEAN. So then I didn't know that it was a program or a competition. Then I just applied for it, thinking it was going to bring me to a different height in a different university. But no, it turns out to be that it's an accelerator program. So I actually signed up myself for an accelerator program, right? And then when they called me and said, "Oh, Shah, you're actually shortlisted," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, cool." Then it was a 4 days program, I think, if I could recall. Yeah, 4 days program in KLCC. So then there was like about 650 ASEAN people in that competition. So they were equally all of them there to pitch about their solutions, and the winners would be able or will be shortlisted to join this ASEAN Launchpad program, right? And they'll be pitching in front of the finance ministers of different ASEAN countries. So then, so I was at the age of 17 years old, right? So I was thinking to myself, what did I sign up for? So I didn't understand terms like application. I didn't understand terms of like the very business terms or even the tech side of terms, right? I didn't understand any of those. So I was personally frustrated because when I was sitting in round tables, like in different breakouts, and then when they were pitching about their ideas, suddenly something popped out in my head like, hey, why not? We have a wireless technology in place, right? And at that point of time, we didn't have any wireless charger. We didn't have any such of uh, a solution out there in the market yet. So then I just something came out of mind and I just went in front and said, hey, let's do this wireless charger technology. And then I pitched, and then everyone voted, like almost about 8 out of 12 people actually voted for the idea. And then I had to present about the idea and develop the prototype and so on. So the whole journey of that initial beginning time, which at 17 years old, it started off like as a kid from who's a graduate of high school, then stepping into like an accelerator program, and then she finally managed to actually win through the competition and then become the top 8 startups to be funneled into the ASEAN Launchpad. And then I was actually developing the prototype at a very young age, and I was working in Unitan, like and in the lab, like how to do it together with uh, other, I would say, professional engineers, so they know how to do things. So they were teaching me about the power engineering part of it. So I was like learning those things and building stuff. And then I decided, hey, I think I like in the business field because I was the youngest person in my team. And so the other people were all of like having an accounting background, having business background. So the technical part of it, I was strong in it. But what I lacked very strong on the other side is definitely the business skills. So I had to like, I thought I reflected on myself. I can't pursue growing the startup more because I definitely like the business knowledge. So I needed time to learn about it. And plus the geographical uh, constraints was certainly there. So geographical constraints meaning that all of us were from different ASEAN countries, and there were no stable internet back then. So we had to like sometimes we get on a call and then it breaks. Get on a call, it breaks, right? So it happens all the time. So then I decided, okay, we need to pause, and then so things happened, and then I had to like drop that idea off. We built a prototype, but then we kind of like dropped it because the team wasn't pulling off really well. So then I decided, okay, let's just step into the university life, where my mom was like, you have to study. You can't be, into startups all the time. You can't be always about startups. And then I was like, okay, sure, okay, let's just get into university life. And then I began my A levels, and I slowly decided, okay, I want to do economics and finance. And then from then on, once I graduated, while I was studying, I was also still very passionate in the startup scene. So I was very active joining programs like the Youth Leadership Academy, by McKinsey company. So like building the social enterprise startups. So it was about solving plastic waste, and then how do you convert plastic waste into becoming terrariums, and we sold it for like $10. And from there, from the profits made, we actually convert the raw plastics, those plastic cups, to becoming like secondary products. So these are some of the things. And then as I kind of grew, and then I decided, hey, economics has really helped me in different ways. The business acumen of the startup has also helped me. So yeah, I would say there's no plan actually after economics. Like I would say, some people will like always ask me like, why don't you pursue working in a bank? Why don't you pursue working I don't know, in a corporate in like a financial environment? But then I decided that I like the innovation spectrum a lot, and what I've learned from the economics direction of things, I could apply to a lot of different things. So I could see it like growing versus, I mean, financial side of things is pretty cool, like working in a bank and stuff, but I really love the innovation side of thing and in the startup side as well. Yeah. Mm.
I see. Very interesting. Wow. Like it's a very
Yeah.
like really your own path that you start you carved out on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just wondering, you studied in University of London, right?
Mhm.
Why did you not stay in UK and then like went back to
Mm.
Malaysia?
So this
Because I had this question for quite a few guests already, but I never got to ask, so first time asking it.
No worries. So this University of London programs was actually a distant learning program, so which is carved in Help University. So then it's actually one of the course or syllabus that's built. So Malaysia is one of the anchor country to host this University of London programs. So I was doing it distantly. Yeah. So I was still doing my exams. Everything is based from LSE. So I finished my degree with the certificate of University of London. Yeah. Mm.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah. Now
Like,
you know.
yes. Um, you mentioned about your
Mm.
like what got you into entrepreneurship, and then you started going to more like social enterprise and all that. What made you stay in the social enterprise environmental sector?
Okay. So when I started the journey of entrepreneurship, right, I learned and understand that entrepreneurship is not just about monetizing things, right? And social entrepreneurship caught my eye because it was more of like How do you do good in the community? How do you solve a problem? But one thing that's lacking, it's a social entrepreneurship, right? But one thing that I've found that it's not really sustaining, because most of these social enterprise companies, they rely on grants, or they rely on like short-term funds. And how do you sustain in long term? How do you monetize your business model in a way that is scalable, that that is market fit? And how do you build it in long term versus not just in a short uh, period of time where you have like a runway of like a cash period, right? You can't sustain. So then I decided it has to meet, like a good business has to meet few areas of things. One is definitely the monetization part of it. And then how do you help a particular community, right? And then the other part of it is the environment, right? So as we, back then when we talk about environment, nobody cares about it, right? But I am actually happy or grateful that people care about it now because of taxations, policies, government coming up and saying that you need to care about ESG. And now corporates, even who, I mean, Bursa market, they make it very compulsory that all the companies has to be ESG compliant, right? So you have to meet the E no matter what, right? So everybody is like panicking. Everyone is like, having these anxieties, and then they're like, how do I do my carbon reporting? How do I find the right supply chain of things? So here you go. Environment is important. You cannot sustain your business without addressing the E in the whole spectrum. So hence I decided that, hey, E is important, right? Environment is important because as I start building, or coming back to your question, why am I passionate about the environment part of things? Is because when I joined the YSL, the Young Southeast Asia Leadership Initiative, it was in the environmental destination. So when they put me in environmental destination, so I was in Hawaii in the United States. Then I was doing more on the marine sector part of things. Then I kind of understood the importance, more on the importance of the marine world and the emphasis on why environment actually matters. So there is like every week, right? Every week they'll give you like a 6 books or 7 books, and you have to like come in a book circle, and you have to like read through all the book, and you have to like synthesize what you have learned and share with the group, right? And then those people that's in the group are of marine researchers and people who are marine scientists or like marine biologists. So we have like different opinions, and I was the very rare one. Like I was coming from a business background who doesn't have any marine background at all. So when I was there, I was like, I was coming in a point of angle of view, like how do we monetize things? How do we actually sustain things in long term? That's when I understood that's my strength. So then when I realized the emphasis and importance of environment, and then I thought, hey, my strength is the business side of things. How do we interlock both of this and make it more sustainable for the people, and even people to learn the importance of why to not have just an environment solution and make it go as just a social enterprise. But how do you get your environment solution? How do you make that sustainable? Yeah, so that's the angle and idea that I decided. Hey, this is what where I'm coming from. Yeah. Mm.
Interesting. You really had a really clear mind of
Yeah.
where you can provide value and all that at that point in time already. You did all this while you were studying in university, right?
Yes. Correct.
How did you manage both?
So I was a rebellious child. So that's anybody who's a student entrepreneur like that, I would say they are very rebellious. They would only listen to what's in their heart, and they can see the North Star. So for me, I felt that I could really feel my North Star. My North Star is, I wouldn't say this is my permanent North Star, right? This is something which currently, where I know that starting in 2014, now it's 2024. It's been 10 years already, right? So I have really loved and, sort of like absorbed and also kind of synthesized. And every time I feel like there's a lot of degrees of innovation when it comes to entrepreneurship, right? So, so a lot of new things, new ideas, and I was a very curious person. Like I think the number one element, right, in life is to be very curious. So, and I was very curious about a lot of things when it comes to entrepreneurship science. So hence I decided that, hey, I'm going to keep strong in this while I pursue my studies. So managing both is not easy, right? So there are often times I wouldn't even do assignments. I wouldn't even care about it because I kind of figured out. I'm sorry, it's a bad advice, but yeah, please do your assignments, all right? But side note is that I cared a lot about growing my experience because I came to realization that paper qualification is not everything, and it is not everything. It's not everything. And I was thankful enough that I had this realization way back then at the age of like 19 or 20 years old, because the people that I was around with, my network of people, they were all of the startup scene, right? So when I see how they've been growing in their experience, their field of experience, and also the amount of things they have accumulated in their life, it's not about the paper qualification. Paper qualification is actually like a funnel, right? Like an entry to something, but it wouldn't sustain you in the long term, right? So then I decided, hey, I want to grow my personal brand. So then I did that. I did that outside of my school, outside of my university. I did that. I went for events, and when I was in Kairos Fellowship, I met a lot of cool people from the United States. They were all from like they were already building software at a very young age. So these are like people from all over the world. So it kind of like opened my mind to a lot of things, and then I decided to build my personal brand from then on. Yeah. Mm.
See, wow. I like how I don't know. The rebellious part is something I really admire. I mean, I guess I am rebellious back then, but not as much as you. I wished I am that rebellious. I do quite agree with the paper qualification part and all this because like, it's only I think over the past year that I learned many people that kind of growth hack their way through university.
True, true. And even now, right, the people debate about universities, like why do they even exist? Because we have AI technology here, and like most of the schools, come on, they bring their phones, they bring, I don't know, like how do you actually like screen through answers, like how accurate that you can screen through answers, right? And there's like
Yeah.
rumors of plagiarism, and then like even if you graduate in a certain like general field of MBA, right? That I've
Mhm.
seen a lot of people that they are still stagnant in their rooms. They're not able to actually accelerate because there are many of them doing the same thing. What separates you from paper qualification is the amount of experience you've accumulated, except if you were to specialize in a particular field of study, that's different. Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Fun fact: later, I'm actually going to London Business School for a campus tour,
Oh,
MBA focused campus tour. But it's not actually personally. I don't believe in MBA. I don't believe. I actually just finished reading the book
yeah.
Personal MBA. Amazing book. I recommend people reading that book, before deciding whether they want to go MBA and all that. Because I believe there's a lot better ways to learn what they learn in MBA and then prove your experience and all that. But just because my friend is going on that tour and then she came to visit UK for a trip, I was like, why not? I'll join her on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually agree exactly like what you just said. Like people tell that MBA, you do MBA to understand business, but it's no. Business is an applied skill. You have to do it in order for you to learn
Mm.
how the business world works. You can't learn MBA and you do business. It doesn't work that way. Mm.
Yeah, especially I believe things are changing on a daily basis. Like,
Mm.
I think one thing about university, which it's good, but it's not the best way because they have to average out all the knowledge so that everyone can absorb it, can learn it. And definitely, if you find a way that you learn best, it's probably better for you to learn it that way. And of course, they have to go to bureaucracy to get those knowledge into the course, and by that time, it's probably too outdated. Yeah,
Exactly.
especially it's very applicable for my computer science. Like right now, I believe alma mater, University of Nottingham. I think what we are learning is way outdated, especially with ChatGPT all this coming out. And I am very sure people are using ChatGPT to do exams, and then they have no way to detect it.
Exactly. Like there's no way you can actually like if it's computer science, right? There's no way you can actually detect plagiarism because the formula is going to be the same as what ChatGPT suggests in some ways. So I'm like, how do you like yeah. Sorry, it's just a thought that I have in my mind. Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I very agree with you. But yes, coming back to this, after university, what happened after university, and then slowly or you went all the way to starting up your Blueprano Asia Ventures.
So after university. So while I was doing my university year, I was doing Blueprano as well. So I was doing
Oh, you already started, so
yes, I already started because my Wisely journey picked up from my university days. So doing my final
mm,
year. So then we were like, okay, somewhat we have to fly to US. But at that point of time, COVID hit at that point of time, 2019, 2018, right? 20, somewhere there,
No, 2020.
2020, somewhere there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2020, COVID hit that time. So when I finished my studies, so I was still doing my Blueprano, right? And then, yeah. So once I finished my studies, I ventured to doing more focusing on Blueprano part of things. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Oh, because your screen is like, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. It happens sometimes, but don't worry about it. If the
Okay,
video is bad, they will just focus on the audio. They will, yeah.
okay, cool. All right. So after university, I joined to work in a mental health startup, which is based in Singapore. And then I have done few apprenticeship programs in consulting field. And then I decided that that's not for me. That's not for me.
Why that's not for you?
I
Recently,
feel like,
okay, it's very funny. Recently, I don't know why throughout my university life, I never knew about consulting. Like I chat to so many people. People are like, like during university, my goal was like I want to go consulting because it's the you earn the most money out of that. And then I was like, why did I not know that? I only learned it like recently. But of course, I don't plan to go into consulting. But I'm interested why you realize consulting is not your thing.
I feel like it's long hours, like definitely very long hours, and there's no like balance of time. Like I feel like I am advising a client, and of course I do my market research, my case studies, and then I come to the client and then I offer my solution to their problem, right, based on case basis. But then it feels like it's just offering solutions for a project, and most often than not, the project is actually like a corporate or a government GLC company, right? And I feel like I'm from a startup background, right? I like the professional development part of it, but I do not think it suits my 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 interest. Yeah. So I didn't think that it would kind of work, because consulting line is very it has framework, it has organizational um, frameworks, and also it has like tools you need to follow right along, but that's not work. Let's
I see.
yeah.
But yes, what happened after that? So like, did that help you on your journeys? Like, what? Because like that time you're still running Blueprano,
Yeah, I
or
was
is
super
it
happy.
no?
Yep. So in that year, like, so once I've graduated, then I
Mm,
actually come out, and then I was still doing my work because I needed, of course, like what I would say is like when I first graduated, I didn't want to focus primarily just on my business or startup, and I
okay.
want to gain a different professional experience from a different field, right? So then I ventured into those fields, and then I felt like, okay, this is not for me. I tested it; it's not for me. Then I'm just gonna do my blueprint, right? So then when I did more of it, I realized that these
Mm,
programs were very Southeast Asia centric. It was because we did it virtually, and
mm,
impacted, it definitely give benefit to these startups that's from the growth stage and the ideal early stage platforms. But then I decided I'm someone who is very firm on one thing. If you're very young, you need to experience as much as you can. That's the rule of thumb. You can't say that yeah, so I'm a firm believer in that. So I wouldn't say that, hey, I'm gonna just purely focus on my startup and I'm gonna give 100% of my time and I want to grow it. I don't believe in that, because I feel that there's a lot of different things you can learn when you work in a corporate setting, right? In a corporate setting. So I used all of my experience. Like currently, I'm doing my day job at work, right? So I'm handling community and partnership sectors. So one of the community managers of that. So part of that day job, it requires me to oversee like about 9 outlets, right? So I'm seeing
mm,
like 9 different outlets, and then I'm seeing different types of clients, partners, and everything. So this part of the organizational strategy, or the work that I do within the organization, of managing the people and even managing the initiatives that I do, right? So
mm,
I take that as a learning skill, or like journey that I feel that's sharpening me along the way. And I also decided the reason why I take such is because it's a way to get into the startup uh, industry
mm.
in Malaysia. Because pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, the startup playing field is very different. It's not the same at all. It's not the same. So before pandemic, it was very different. After pandemic, it's really different. The people who are handling a lot of things, they have moved. A lot of things have changed. A lot of new things came into place. So then, hence, I decided also like, hey, I want to get to know who are the people that's handling these startup related uh, programs or things. So then, when I was approached, like, we want to bring better startup scene live back again. Like, do you want to join on board? So I was like, yes, I would love to do it, right? So I did that because I didn't want to be attached to a government organization who does the startup development part of things. Because I know if I were to do that,
Mm.
I'll be only attached to one part of program development, and I only would know what that particular organization has in mind. But versus if I were to be an ecosystem enabler, that I can do anything I want and test out whatever it's in the market and see what works, what doesn't work, what makes the startup people tick and what doesn't make them tick, right? So when I do that a lot, then I decide, okay, it's really helping me. And then in some other way context is also because marine sector in Malaysia, it's growing in the oil and gas industry, right? But we talk
Oh,
about
okay.
things like marine solutions or like things like how do we help these. Let's talk about marine startups. There's none.
Mm. Yeah, I can't really. I like. Funnily, the only thing that I can come that thing
Yeah,
I know is it's not even Malaysia. It's the Great Ocean Cleanup. I know it's they're cleaning up like the Klang River, and it's funny that it's not Malaysian company doing it. It's like some overseas non-profit doing it.
yeah. Oh, we don't have organization like Ocean Hole.
Mm,
And then we also have
mm.
like PMRS. We have great organizations like what is it called? Uh, Reef something Reef Reef Check Malaysia. Yeah, we have these great organizations definitely trying to safeguard the ocean, the marine waters in Malaysia, right? But it's very often it is gone into the conservation work. But the
Uh,
conservation work is not felt by the people, the normal common people. They cannot resonate, they cannot understand, they can't feel it. So, for example,
mm,
like Reef Check Malaysia, they do a lot of amazing work in the coral statistics and studying about corals activities and planting more corals in Pulau Tioman, in Mersing, in different cities like in the island side of the place. But we people, we don't understand the importance, like common people, if you were to ask, what's the importance of planting corals? What do you think about, starting up a business in the marine? No one cares because they don't think it's a lucrative business to start because they think environment is something that it takes time to grow. I agree, it takes time to grow, but if it's something readily implemented, you can solve the problem. Why not, right? But there's not much emphasis on that field. And there are startups that's growing, that's working on it, but there's often not. It's all revolving about synthetic food production or something related to tech related part of things, like AI related part of things. Yeah. Mm, yeah.
very interesting.
So hence
Do
that's
you
why.
feel?
Yeah.
Mm, go on.
So hence that's why to end my sentence properly is that
Mhm,
when I join, like when I do my day job part of things, it is
mm,
interesting. I love it. I love it, like learning about real estate, doing part of the community part of things, startup related part of things. So I'm able to insert conversations with the VCs and also with people about why blue economy actually matters. And then there has to be someone that connects the dot, like to have those conversations. So hence now
mm.
I know that these are the people who I know who I can reach out to, who I can work with, and what I can do. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Mm.
What made you start Blueprano, and then how did you do it? Because you said that you started while you're in university, like that made it even more impressive. And I think it this makes you a bit different. Like normally, entrepreneurs start companies that offers a product. You're starting a kind of like incubator. You help other entrepreneurs to start their companies, which is very interesting.
Yep. So when I started Blueprano, the question is again how why did I could you repeat the question again?
Okay. Why did you start, and how did you start it?
Okay, cool. Right. So when I started the journey, right, it was like it was a wisely academic fellowship. That's how it started, through that
Mm,
whole fellowship. So when I was just learning about environmental sector of things, and then when my education advisor he came on board and then he told us like, hey, there has to be something. You guys need to launch a program that connects the United States and Southeast Asia together, right? So we thought, hey, why not we just do a bootcamp program, right? We could do that because I knew a lot about it. I know how it works. And then I was like, okay, we can do it. We can launch it. And he suddenly said, like, because I was giving him ideas, like we could do something carbon related type of bootcamp program, or like maybe clean tech related bootcamp program. And he just straight up cut me off, and he was like, Usha, that's so mainstream. That's so boring. Let's not do that. Let's just move away from it. Let's do something very niche. And I was like, okay, well, what's niche? And then he told me, let's venture into the marine side of things, right? Let's do um, Blue Tech Excavator Program. That's how he named it. And I felt like
Okay.
I have no relation in like, marine field. I can bring my expertise on board, which is the entrepreneurship side. So the first year, when we launched the bootcamp program, there were a lot of people that were interested. I was very surprised that people coming in, particularly interested in this program, people from Myanmar, a lot of them from Myanmar, because there was a point of time where they were actually fighting over these dolphins. They are. I think it's there's a particular name of it. I couldn't recall it, but it's they're trying to actually save their own local dolphins from being endangered or being poached at that point of time. So there was a big campaign going on in Myanmar at that point of time. So we had people from Myanmar, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, all over the Asia countries, I would say. So we were particularly very, very impressed to see the level of, like interest and excitement in the Southeast Asia region. So then we're like, okay, let's just do a 3-day bootcamp program. And then we had total of like 70 people that we qualified. And then we had like about 12 startups that joined the entire program. And then they graduated, like about 4 startups graduated from the program, right? So that's how the journey started. Then eventually I decided, hey, I kind of like the marine field already, because the reason how I felt it was when I was sitting in this Waikiki beach in Hawaii. So I was sitting there
Mm.
alone at night, right? So my friends went to they went clubbing, right? And then I cannot take the clubbing environment for a long time. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna excuse myself. I'm just gonna go somewhere. And then I went to the sea. I just sat down there, and it was pitch dark, literally dark. I cannot see anything. And then I just closed my eyes, and all I could feel is the wave, right? And then I felt like I'm starting to like it. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a feeling, or like I would say a connection that I felt at that point of time. And then I realized that maybe this is one of my calling to do it, to continue doing it. And then as I ventured more into the marine side of things by interacting with a lot of marine researchers and trying to learn more about the marine science field, because marine science field is not easy as how it is. It's really not easy.
Mm.
It's very detailed and deep. So, for example, different sectors of marine industry, when you talk about fishery, right? We have to look at the economic livelihoods of this fisherman, and why, when we change it, when we have a different capital injected, how does this affect the economy in certain terms? And when we, those it ties up with the whole uh, area of like entrepreneurship as well. Yeah, so it's very
See.
vast. So hence, when I started learning more on it and speaking and interacting with the local people from the fishermen side of place, and even the coastal villages and people from the coastal area, then I decided that, hey, I think I kind of like it more, because there's a lot of problems. They come with a lot of problems, and some of the problems are really, really scary. Some of the problems are like, for example, women in Bangladesh, right? They they don't have a proper sanitation or hygiene, right? So when they're in the coastal region, they have got high salinity of water in the sea area. So what happens technically that most women, when they consume the water from the sea, what happens is that they will have to remove their uteruses. Yes, that's how bad it can get.
Oh wow, I never knew about that.
Yes,
Wow.
correct. So then I decided, hey, it's actually a very alarming problem. It's very alarming. And like even in Indonesia, right? We talk about plastic consumption. The highest number of plastic consumption is Philippines, was recorded uh,
Mm.
last year. And then Indonesia, is also one of the largest countries to consume a lot of plastic bottles. And they do big runs in the coastal in the island areas, right? So when like big corporate marathons and things happens, what happens is like those plastic bottles get dumped in the coastal, those drainage systems and all that, and then it
I
causes flooding.
see.
It causes flooding. So it's like in a way, it's very important because when it causes flooding, what happens next, right? There's a lot of different things that happens next. The health part of it,
Mm,
yeah. Other than health, what else happens? Safety aspect of things, right? And then when flood happens, it's a disaster already. There's no proper management.
mm.
A lot of things. So it's not just about aquaculture. It's not just about how do you protect the corals, but it's more than that. It is way more than that. And also we talk about deep sea mining, right? Like deep sea mining is
Oh yes, this
very
is a
big.
new recent topic. Everyone want to profit out of that.
Correct. It's not a new topic. It's not a new topic, Andrew. It's been there,
Mm,
but like one day during the COP 28, right? So when they decided, okay, let's have this thing. I think it was 2035, something, reduce it by 30 or something like that, right? So it's more like to reduce the level of deep sea activities by the year of 2030 or something, right? And then it didn't happen. It doesn't make sense because it's like, what's the point? Like, because it's just 30%, right? And then when they had that in like enactment, when they have that in place, they went on and say that, okay, we're gonna remove that whole thing of like environmental what do you call it, to assess environmental assessment. So when you do big projects and stuff, you have to assess these companies if they are environmentally fit, or are they doing the right ethically, right ethical work for the environment, or whatever activity they're doing. So they decided to remove that for deep sea mining.
interesting.
Yeah,
That sounds
yeah,
very suspicious.
yes. So it's like at the end of the day, like how Greta Thunberg puts it in a way, right? Those big companies, even big banks, they still support fossil fuel companies. They still do. And like the campaign in the United States happening right now, the election campaign. Do you know that a lot of environmental organizations are currently supporting um, the running president? What's her name again?
Joe Biden, is
Forgot.
it?
No, no.
Which one?
It's a her.
Kamala Harris?
Yeah. The
Kamala
reason why
Harris,
they
yeah.
support her is because she, during her time of serving for the country, she has
Mm,
constantly showed support and even progress in the environmental sector. So she has actually brought the limelight. One of the oil and gas company did not properly produce their tax reports. That is why people are really supporting her in the United States. Yes.
very interesting.
Yeah. So
Very
so
interesting.
this whole thing makes me think about the world in a way that people say
Mm.
that humans can live or humans can fight the environment. No, you can't. You really can't. Like what happened in Dubai, right? We had the flooding. Like we tried.
Yeah, that was very scary. Never expected that that would ever
Right.
happen.
It's a
Yeah.
stark reminder that, hey, no matter how developed we're trying to grow, no matter how we're trying to build ourselves rapidly as a nation, as a country, to progress and
Mm.
advance, you can't fight the nature. You cannot. Nature will revive itself. We cannot revive ourselves. Like that's why people.
Amazing.
It's like people think that it's a competition, right? Like, I can do anything to hurt the environment, whatnot. No, you can't do that. So that's why I do I do kind of like feel very close to the nature a lot. And I feel the
Hmm.
importance of protecting it in ways that I can do my best. I do my best. Yeah.
That is amazing. Okay, I like your passion towards it, and how funny that it's when you started you didn't actually know much about it, and then suddenly now you really went really deep into it. Yes, but when you started, I think even before Blueprano Asia, like even when like your first time when you joined Wisely, is it? Yeah.
Join the Global Startup Force. Yeah. That's the first book.
Oh, that's the first one. Because like you said that you were really young and then with a bunch of like a lot more senior and all that.
Yep,
Yeah. Do you feel imposter? Feel like being an imposter throughout all this journey?
for sure, 100%. There was never a time I felt that I was good enough. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely there, right? So I still have anxiety here and there when it comes to publicly speaking with people, right? Like I still used to have that, but now I don't have that anymore. Like it's gone a little, right? But
Mm-hmm.
at that point of time when I was still building, I didn't have that much of industry knowledge. And then I knew the only way to get through this is by learning and to network as much people as I could, right? So I did that. So I would go out of events, I would just do my because I was not born in a silver spoon, right? It's very different. Like I'm just stating facts, right? People who are born with the right accessibility, people who are born with the right opportunities or doors, it's very different. So it felt very um, like I need to do something. I need to push myself. I need to keep pushing myself. And I did that. So I had to go for events and then like, oh, hey, hi, I'm Usha. I'm running this startup, blah, 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 blah. It would look like sometimes nobody would bother to listen to you. No one would actually care. People will be very they are in the business field, right? So they want to know exactly what you're trying to deliver. And sometimes it can be harsh. The comments that I receive can be really harsh. But then throughout the years, as I build my personal brand, I gain my level of confidence by that. So from there on, I decided or felt much more better. So when I go out, I know what I'm doing. So I know how to be more composed. I know, okay, this is what I'm saying. I know how to react when that's actually a criticism or a thing which is not that constructive, right? So how do I respond to that? This takes time. This takes I think experience in some level. So I had to learn through all of it. Yeah. Mm.
How do you cope with rejections?
How do I cope with rejections?
Yeah, rejections. How do you take rejections? I guess yeah.
In the past, when I feel rejected,
Mm-hmm.
I feel both ways. When it's personal or when it comes to professional development, I feel there is an anger in me, right? I'm like, why am I rejected? Am I not good enough for this? Why am I like not good enough for the scholarship? Why am I not? Like, you know what I mean? But over the time, I felt that rejection is a redirection.
Mm.
It is. So I feel that um, we are in a world of constantly going. But I came to a point of um, realization that sometimes some stupid things I've done, like some really stupid things, is like I just apply for it to know how it goes, right? But when I get it, I know that this is not what I want, and then I will not do it. I'll not pursue it, right? But when I get rejected because I really want that and I get rejected, I just tell myself maybe it's not my time this time. Maybe it's something else that meant to happen, and then I
Mm.
and I just say it's okay. Everything is I always tell myself that life is short and then just take it easy, right? Like just take it easy. Everything just take it easy. Yeah.
Amazing. I like your philosophy. What role did your family and friends play while you're going through this entrepreneurship journey?
I think my brother played an important role, I would say. So I think he was the closest to understand startup business and all that. Because my my siblings like my first
I think Asian families like are quite they quite question this like why not just go on a solid default path, don't like take so much risk and all
correct,
this.
exactly. But I was very thankful that I have the closest sibling, closest in terms of age. Like, there's not much of a very big age gap. So he could understand um, why is it important to venture in startup? Well, why is it important to build a personal brand? Because it really would
Mm,
help in the future. And he was like, my mom couldn't relate to it at all because I wouldn't blame her because that's the environment that she's brought on. Like you have to get into university, graduate, go into school. That's how you get secure, especially as a girl, right? Like as a woman, how do you achieve your job security? How do you feel secure in today's environment? That's how they are taught. So I wouldn't blame her. But the most supportive one, I would definitely say my brother. And then from then on, whatever that I do, there's always like my mom would be like, you have to focus on your study. What's next for your professional career? What's your drawing salary? It's a lot of things. But I'm personally, I don't care. I'm like, I there's always a passion. When you know that's your true passion, you'll follow it no matter what. So I would say support. Um, it's definitely my network as well. So when I begin at a very young age, so I was exposed to a network of people where they are startup people, community builders, and they are actively building ecosystems as well. So I had the right mentors too. They were telling me things like keep going, don't stop. And then like when there are moments of failures, when the moments of like giving up, and they're like, no, why would you give up? You know what I mean? So there's such people. And I would say definitely growing up, like normal Asian people, like normal familyhood, it's always steady work. And then that's it. That's it. But I was very thankful enough that my dad taught me things very differently from the rest of my siblings. So he ensured things like very basic stuff, like you have to speak English only in the house, only applied to me, no one else. And then things like he would bring like like this general knowledge book every time he comes back from his work, right? And he would buy for me every edition. He'll come back and ask me to read. He'll ask me to read it
Okay.
and ask me to talk about it. Then when I have like, okay, it's about when at that point of time, I think I was just 7 years old, 8 years old, right? So then I would just read. So I was doing bad in class, like really bad in class, but I was very good in general knowledge.
Okay.
Very different, very different. So my dad would always tell me, be very different, be unique, go and explore,
Mhm.
do great things. That's what my dad taught. So it was very different way of teaching things to me. Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
Are you the youngest among like your siblings and all?
Yes. How do you know?
I mean, because like I feel like I understand. I am the eldest. I am the eldest. So I guess I only have a sister. I only have like a sister that's like 8 years younger. But I'm like after growing up, definitely there's moments like this. I think I'm not sure if you did question why your dad. Why did he only chose me to I had to speak English, and then why I had to like always buy this general knowledge book and then let me read it. There was moments like this when I was growing. I was questioning why I was brought up this way as well. But I mean, for parents, it's their first time being parent as well. So, for me, I'm pretty much the first experiment. So then my sister had a better way, better education and all that. So, because like when I hear yours, I feel like definitely sounds like your dad is a lot more experienced. I've tried a few ways, and that's why he decided to
Like
go on
he
this way
tried,
for you. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he tried on like few other people.
Yeah, it didn't really work out. Like, let's try this. Let's see what's the outcome of this experiment.
Could be. That's a good
Mm,
experiment, you know. But like
mm,
also the fact that he he says things like how to say that yeah, the emphasis on like doing things differently, right? And also very young,
mhm.
like I was doing this essay on air pollution part of things, and
Okay.
I needed his help. That was like about when I was 9 years old, I think 9 or 10 years old,
Mm,
when I was back in school. And he taught me like this is how air pollution affects this. And then we wrote like a long essay, and then we sat and wrote things, and then I decided, environment is pretty cool back then, you know? So
wow.
that's I think that could be the point of time.
The one moment that actually started
Yeah,
started
how it started.
started directing you towards the environmental sector.
And he's also from the agriculture side of things too. So could be.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. What about your friends? Like, what did they play a role?
I think growing up in the startup side of things, I wouldn't say they are like friends. They are like mentors too, right? But
Oh,
like
wow.
so as growing up, right? Like going through the programs, and definitely I meet across different sets of mentors that has helped me to shape my thinking and to
Mm,
shape how I pitch, how I present myself in front of like group of investors or group of like different industry experts, right? But when it comes to friends, particularly, there's I wouldn't say anyone because maybe because as I was growing up, um, I think I didn't pick the right friends along.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us more about it.
So so I would say that happens because as age as well, right? Because like when you're young, you want to do you're excited about like, hey, friends and everything, but who cares about energy? Who cares about shared values at that point of time, right? Who cares about that kind of things when you're just 20 years old, 21 years old? No one cares. So I definitely had not the right set of friends back then, but I'm grateful of the journey that we have shared together, right? Because I've learned through the lessons and they have taught me the light of different life. And then from there onwards, as I ventured more into the Wisely program and met other friends, they were just friends. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't say much like how it has helped me. Most of the time when I wanted help in the industry side of things, I would seek definitely like connections or networks of people like who are working in the marine side of things. When it comes to entrepreneurship, I speak to particular mentors. But yeah, yeah.
See.
Mm.
Interesting. Do you feel lonely on this journey?
I used to, but I don't now. So
Oh.
yeah.
Why? Have you found your own community? Found your own people, your own community?
So there's some things that keeps me fulfilled and passionate. There's some things it's like doing my day job. Like really adding value to the startup ecosystem in Malaysia
Mm.
makes me happy, right? Because I'm able to help them grow. And when I hear things like, um, thank you, for like letting us come into the space, and also that we have grown XXX number of people in our community, really makes me happy. Really makes me happy. So that's one that makes me fulfilled. And I've also started this community builders hangout every month. So I do that in Malaysia to bring community builders that are actively building their own communities in different fields and also verticals. And the other side is definitely founders. So they could also join like founders, right? And when I see them and I hear stories, when I hear what they do, what are they passionate about? So when we speak about things, I feel that excites me and keeps me fulfilled too. Apart from that, is definitely my mountain hikings. So I should talk about it.
That is very random. Suddenly you're talking about
Very
people,
random
community.
because
Suddenly hiking.
yes, so I'm a very nature person.
Hmm?
So I didn't realize. So there were a lot of things that happened in life that I had a
Hmm.
lot of losses as well, like losing my dad, losing friends, and losing some close
I'm
friends.
sorry to hear
No, no
that.
worries. So losing some close friends or loved ones, right? But along the way, I realized that I needed to get on a spiritual path, right?
Hmm.
I needed to do something to realize myself and who I am and what I am. Why am I actually put on this earth, right? So what I decided was taking that. I started this mountain journey last year, December. So when I did my first solo trip, then I went to Bromo, right? So Bromo was not that high, so I kind of hiked it. It was kind of fast hike. So when I actually did my proper mountain hiking was last April, if I'm mistaken. Yeah. So I did it in Agong, in one of the highest one in Bali, right? So
Ooh.
it was really cool. So what made me think was just that it was very impromptu decision. It was like, okay, it was just like a trip where I thought, okay, I'm gonna meet my friends and we're just gonna be, having fun. And then so I decided, hey, you know what? I think I want to do this mountain hiking. I didn't have anything, no what do you call windbreaker, no proper shoes. I had only Nike shoes. I'm not kidding. I didn't even have a hiking pole. Legit. Yes. So I don't know what made me say I want to go for this thing. So I took a leap of faith when I went for the mountain hiking. But of course they gave me a bamboo pole, which imitated that hiking pole. So it's like a long stick, right? So then I used it to hike. Of course, it was not a pleasant experience because I didn't have a proper windbreaker or like a warm clothing.
I'm surprised, I thought when you said you didn't have all these things, you're gonna next coming up is that, oh, you went and buy all these things. I
No,
didn't
I didn't
didn't expect that you actually went without all these
buy
things.
all of these things. Yes. So I still continued hiking. So when it was very cold for me, I have no choice but to, like, because they give me a normal sweater, but it's just a normal sweater. It doesn't really function much. And the wind was blowing very strong. So the point is here is that me taking the leap of faith made me realize a lot of things while being in the mountain with my porter. So I was often alone in that hiking period of time. Right. So there's a lot of things like imagine watching stars, which is in like full, it's pitch black, and then you can only see all stars. Right. Imagine there was one point of time when this thing happened, right? So I was carrying my backpack. My backpack was super big. I didn't have a different smaller backpack. That was a mistake I made. So there were in that group, shared group. So I just joined a shared open group, and they were of uh, French people from France. So they were like, okay, they were hiking together. They're co-hikers. So they were quite fast because they come with some people come with the mindset of going to the campsite first, right? But I come with the mindset of actually enjoying my surrounding, enjoying the nature, that kind of person, right? And then I told my guide, and it's okay, you can go first because only they could understand English. They can't converse in Bahasa. And then I said, I
Okay.
can stay with the porter. The porter can be with me. So then it's just me and the porter. So I changed my bag with the French guy because he said he wanted to offer help because it's too big for me. I said, okay, sure, you want to help me, okay. And I forgot my lamp is in his bag. Technically in my bag,
Oh,
I gave it to him. So then there was no lamp in his bag, right? So as I was hiking, it was like 7 p.m. And I still remember I was eating watermelon, I
okay.
think. I was eating watermelon. And then my partner asked me all of a sudden, do you have your lamp with you? And I said, no, I don't have it. It was already dark, like legit. It was already dark.
Oh shit.
Yes. And I was like, and it's just another 4 hours to reach the campsite before.
Another 4 hours.
So I was just sitting down and then yeah, I put my watermelon away and I was like, how do we go about? And then he said that he don't remember bringing a lamp. And then I was already very sad because it took me a long time and I subscribed for this. It's a lot of energy because Mount Agung is very steep. The angle of elevation
Okay.
is like all the way like this. So it's not like
Wow.
this, it's like this. So even people who have hiked Everest Base Camp, those that hike with me, they say it's actually hard for them. It's not easy for them. So it was hard, right? Then I thought to myself, I took a lot of energy and time to actually hike it. It's just another 4 more hours. Then I was crying. I was really crying, and I was praying that shit. How do we figure this out? I was even thinking, could we just burn the wood and then maybe in the movies, right?
Like a torch and all that.
Yes, but the thing is, the thing is, it's wet. It's a wet wood. You can't burn that, right? Then I was like, okay, ouch, we can't do that. What can we do then? Then something made me tell the porter, like, can you just sweep through your bag? Like, just see, sweep through all of your cooking utensils or what? He found only one lamp, and he told me one thing, which I strongly keep close to my heart until today. He told me one thing is that if you're not a good person, you will not have the lamp with you.
Whoa.
This is deep. This is deep because what he said is like,
Wow.
yeah, like all the mountains in Indonesia and even any mountains, all the mountains in the world, it's a sacred mountain. We believe in that. So any mountaineers you speak to or people who live in the mountain, they pray to the mountain as though it's their god, right? So in this Agong, they believe that the god residing in the mountain is Lord Shiva. Yeah. So they believe in that and they pray to the mountain a lot. They even go and do those recitals and all that. So hence he told me that, and I felt very personal. I felt a connection, a strong connection with nature already, with the mountain, and I felt it. And that's when I realized that everything just left, like my ego, my anger, my all that image that I created, the ego image. You know what I mean when they always say this when you work, when you do whatever, there has to be an alter image you create so that you have a good representation as you speak, right? You put yourself firmly
Mm.
out there. All of that just went away. So I was very into my masculine energy, very, very into my masculine energy because I was always in a fight or flight mode all the time, building my startup, growing up in an environment where it's like it's not that great, right? It's like you have to work on yourself, you have to bet on yourself, you have to take a risk on your own, do everything on your own, right? So it's always been fight or flight mode all the way. So I didn't have time to heal. I didn't have time to even recover from my dad's passing and people's passing. It took me like maybe 5 years after my dad's passing to process the grieving, right? Because everything was really fast. So hence I was very much into masculine energy. Then when I did that hike, when I came back from it, everything was different. I was very in
Interesting.
sync. I'm not kidding. I was very in sync with my feminine energy. Like I was very much into my intuition, my my energy. Like I could read energies. I could feel if this is something for me, this is not something for me. Like, this kind of like spiritual energy. I felt it. So that's when I realized that mountain play a special thing in my life. So hence I devote my time and energy to mountain hiking. Of course I can't do it every month because that would be negative psychologically because that would give her a drive of adrenaline. You know what I mean? Like you want to
Okay, yeah, yeah.
do it every month. Like
You seek that feeling all the time and all.
yes, yes. Because after the Mount Agong, I did Mount Rinjani the next month. Then yes, yes. Then after that, I told myself I need to pause because after I came back, 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, right? I was already start googling about mountains.
It's like people like when like people working, they're always constantly before they end the current trip, they'll be searching where they are going for the next trip, and then for you it's like
Yeah,
you're searching for the next place to hike.
next place to hike, correct. So I was like already doing it. Then I realized to myself, I can't do this, Usha. I can't hike another mountain the next month. I can't do that. I want to give myself a break. I want to train myself in a way that I am doing it for the right purpose. Right. So hence that's how the whole uh mountain hiking and a combination of few things actually helped me in really destroying that part of ego in me, right?
I see.
Yes. So like now that I'm confronted with, like, for example, people were to say something, I don't get angry much. I'm like, that's on you, that's not on me, right? That's that environment is not my environment. As long as I don't absorb it and put it in my environment. So I see it in a
Interesting.
way
That is
that
very interesting.
yes.
I would really love to learn that.
Yeah, so it definitely the mountain part of things really changed uh my life, I would say. Yeah.
Interesting. I see. Okay, back back from the mountains, back into it's very really interesting, very unexpected when I talk about like how do you like have you found your own community, and then hiking turned out to be a very interesting thing that really helped you. Yeah. But what's your typical day as a entrepreneur? Because like like many people have this misconception that entrepreneur is rich. You wake up whatever time you want, do whatever you want, yeah, enjoy your life. Yeah.
That's what you see on Instagram. That's what you see. People
Yes.
taking trips, people taking flight, going places. That's what you see. But actually it's not that. There's a lot of groundwork, a lot of groundwork. So a lot of entrepreneur friends, even that I'm close to, and even myself, I find it very
Mm,
exhausting because what about someone who does like two different things in one? Yes, I chose that because I believe that it really has helped me grow in a lot of uh, levels, opened up a lot of doors.
mm,
So when I go to a certain place, they already know me. Oh, Usha, like, you know what I mean? So the connections, the networks has built a lot of experience in me. So I feel now more multifaceted than I was back then at the age of 17 years old, right? But the I would say the other side of it, right, is definitely the long hours you put in crafting your business or your brand. And even now, like I've
mm.
taken a pause of like few months break to really re-strategize what I really want to do differently for Blueprano. So hence that's why I take a pause and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a pause. It's so important to do this. Everybody goes on a let's do, let's do, let's do, let's do, let's go, 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 go. But that's not it. And somewhere or not, you will feel burned out. Somewhere or not, you will feel the struggle of not um, regulating your emotions and not regulating your
Mm.
stress levels.
Mm.
Yeah. So what I'm learning, right, to do is that um, I finally figured that I could regulate my level of stress in a better way. So when I have like a this day job and then when I have my startup, right? So I'm able to sort of feel the pressure from here as well. And I can feel that I can regulate it in a level that feels not destroying myself. I wouldn't say the stress is good, but what I'm trying to say is that regulating emotions is one of the things that every entrepreneur somewhat fail to do, I feel. And then and as we keep doing things, keep doing things, we think that's the best thing out there. We think that's something that we need to continue to keep doing, because we fall in love with the problem so much that we think that's the only solution out there that you offer. But then when we feel someone else is solving the pain point of that particular customer that you're also uh, tapping into, right? So then we feel disheartened, we feel discouraged. We're not able to like rub off and say, okay, let's just go, right? These are the things, it's more in character development part of it. The character development part of it is plays a very huge role for people, especially going through, striving through this journey, which is not easy, is quite, it takes a toll. Yeah. Yeah. So hence that's why,
How do you regulate your? Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Go on.
So hence that's why I took some time, few months of break to really figure out who I am, that spiritual side
Mm.
of me, and to really
Mm.
feel, am I contented myself? Like I wanted to understand what is my purpose, and then to really tap into how can I do better, right? So I actually feel that that break, anyone, just please take a break. That's what I would say. If you need to slow down, just do it unapologetically. Just do it. Yeah, that's what I would say. So hence it has helped me a lot. So next, what I'm already thinking about is like, okay, these are the partners that I'm looking out and also I'm working on. And some programs are also going to be rolled out in a couple of months' time. So hence that particular break really felt energizing and refreshing. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, like, cause like right now I'm unemployed. I've been unemployed for 2 months. Yeah, 2 months. I realized, like, of course, I guess it's not super ideal to be totally unemployed. It's good to have break but not stop. But I realize next time after I get a job or when I have a job transition, it's I will at least give myself one month of break in between because this period of time I realized it is such a good time for me to reset my life, to realize what are the issues in my life, and then I can like go and correct it or like read today. Actually, this morning I went on therapy and it really helped out a lot. Like all these things, like, cause yeah, like what you said, we're just too sometimes too busy. There's always things going on. Your mind is just keep on running, and we never had time to slow down and then actually think about ourselves.
True. You know what?
Yeah.
Since you've spoken about this, right? Like how you
Mm.
say we are constantly on the go, right? And
Mm.
sometimes we don't realize like answers, right? It's full of distractions, and we seek out like when there's a problem that happens, we seek out answers from somebody else. We seek out answers from
Mm.
someone else, but it's not within ourselves. You know what I mean? And then also is
Mm.
that I realized that this reset, the push button of reset, is super important. So whenever I feel even like overwhelmed, my only
Mm.
source of how it aligns myself back or attune myself back is by being in the nature, just going on. So like I know in the heart of Kuala Lumpur, there's no sea, there's no mountain I can go to.
Yeah.
Right? And it would take like 4 hours or maybe 5 hours of drive. And I can't do that after a overwhelming, exhausting time. So the only place I always like to go to is this place called Kebun Bangsar. It's an urban farming place in Bangsar. It's very funny. So it's in Bangsar. In the back of it is full of like urban farm. So that farm feels very refreshing because they have goats, they have chickens, they have like even peacocks, right? So it feels nice because it's in the greens. So I could just remove my sandals or my heels, and then I just like put my barefoot and I feel grounded and I feel good. And I just make it a habit to like just stand there for like 20 minutes, just stand barefoot, right? And then I believe after that, after doing that therapy, right, I feel like a lot of negative energy is being sucked out or let out. Yeah, yeah. And also, we are always constantly thinking, we are always constantly thinking. But as I venture into the spiritual journey side of things, I wouldn't say spiritual is more like, I'm not saying about the religion or whatever, but it's more towards finding the true meaning of life. And that's my quest currently, like finding what's the meaning of life. Because I came to understanding, right? We're doing a lot of solo travels and then mountain hikings as well. I came to realization that why they actually put onto this earth, right? What's the idea, right? So when I actually was watching a video of this person talking about we are constantly thinking about, is there life after death? We are constantly investigating that, like, even myself, like when my dad passed away, or when my someone who was dear to me passed away, I felt like, uh what happens to them next? What happens to the journey after that? I'm just thinking like about that. But the man in the video said that he's more concerned about if there's life before death. You see, you get me, right? It's a deep thing. It's an easy phrase, but it's a deep realization of things. Then I
Interesting.
realized,
Yeah, never thought of that.
never thought of that
Yeah.
too, right? So then I realized that, hey, it's beyond just work. It's beyond just the skyscrapers. It's beyond my phone. It's beyond everything. And then when I ventured to learning more about the meaning of life, I felt like
Mm.
reading books, like for example, life changing book that I would recommend to you is this book called Man's Search for Meaning in Life. It's by Victor.
Oh yeah, I read it. I just finished it recently. Oh my God.
So good, right? So good. Oh,
Yes.
it's so deep, enlightening, and it's also one of those top sellers for spiritual enlightenment. Yeah. So how human suffering, right? How does it lead to enlightenment, right? And then certain things like that, like learning through these books and also going through the journeys of particularly being interested to figuring out what's the meaning behind life. Then I realized that a lot of materialism things are stripped away from me already. In terms of like, it doesn't interest me. The only thing that interests me is like, am I really living a life which I feel fulfilled? Am I really living a life which I'm happy?
Mm.
That's what matters to me a lot more besides my work. Yes. And like also, right, like coming to the point of saying we're thinking all the time, our brain is working, we're thinking and thinking, thinking. But just try sitting down, not think about anything. Just not
Oh,
think about
that's
anything.
that's really hard.
That is hard. That's hard. So I practiced doing that. Like I started practicing it, and it feels good. It feels empowering. I don't have to think about anything. And suddenly I feel attuned to myself. Yeah. So that was a point of time where before this entire every journey of this journey, it felt like I would care about what people think. I would care about criticism. I would care about a lot of things. And I would feel easily agitated, or my ego would be hurt, and all of those things. I would be very masculine. But right after this journey that I've emphasized on taking a break and really focusing myself, a lot of things shifted. A lot of things really made way to realizing who I am. Yeah. And that's important because taking break is important because we often think about the goal, but we don't think about the character development or the process of achieving that goal. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Really, really amazing insights from you.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yes, it's gonna be a ton of questions suddenly. Are you in a relationship right now?
Oh, I'm relationship with myself.
Oh, okay, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Why would you say so? And I think the
Hmm.
last guest said the same thing. Very interesting, yes.
The last guessing. Oh my god.
Yes.
Okay. So I think would say that things like materialistic stuff doesn't make me excited, but things like
Okay.
really, it's kind of hard to find someone who can you can enjoy conversations just over small things in life, like really small things. Like you can have just like I was dating this person, right? And then I was
Mm.
talking, like I was having conversation with the person, and I said that simple things make me happy. And even I tattooed it my wrist saying that
Oh.
in French. So it says
Mm.
um, joy of living, which means that simple things makes me happy, right? So like
Mm.
for instance, I was telling the guy like, hey, just a cup of tea, like not a fancy place at Starbucks or whatever it is. Just sitting by in the playground or just sitting in a mountain, whatever it is, anywhere. Like just having conversations about life. It's what excites me. And like continuing to have that conversation that grows you, that makes you think a lot about different things, right? I think it's still I haven't found that person yet. So while then I'm just
I see.
continuing to build myself and to grow myself. Yeah.
Thing. I love this journey you're on, and then what, like, you really feel like you really know something, like you really know what you really want, and that is the most important thing for yourself, actually.
And like I think before this maybe when I've not done
Mm.
that amount of work on myself, I think I would have been just like not have that importance of assessing emotional intelligence as an important thing,
Mm.
right? Like things that really matters to me, like um how the person thinks. And of course, you don't ask very deep question and expect the person to think high level, right? But it's a very easy question that makes us understand how will they be able to treat others, or how will they be able to assess a particular situation. You know what I mean. This kind of things actually are very important. Manners, uh,
Mm.
yeah. This like things that really makes pisses me off is like if someone is actually rude to someone that not do something for you, pisses me off so much. I'm like, it does. So it's hard. It's hard to have that to meet that one person, but it's fine. It doesn't have to be all about having someone. You know what I mean? It can be along the way because I don't believe in the context of like uh, you have to be dependent on someone. It's a companionship as you build your life, as you grow through your journey. Of course, you need someone to build your company and to grow, build in this whole adventure of life and the big circle of this earth, right? Like it's big, it's vast. You need to share it with someone, of course, but don't force it, don't rush it. While then, you just focus on yourself. While then, I think I think I'm happy doing that. So yeah. Mhm.
That is amazing. I love to hear that. What's your current pursuit?
I said it already. The
Like, focusing on yourself, like
yes,
improving yourself.
correct. That
I see. I
I wouldn't
see.
say improving myself, but
Mm.
I'm on that quest of like figuring out or like tackling what's actually that meaning behind life. What is it? That one. And then the other part of it is
Mm.
definitely for looking out for career development too. Right. So that's for my startup. So things I'm looking out for my Blueprano is like how do I continue to support the idea stage and growth stage startups? But it's more not just the business side of things, but I realized that this marine sector of emphasizing how do you monetize or how do you make it out of a business model is very crucial to be implemented in schools and students to teach them. So hence I'm like, okay, that's my next line. How do you educate uh, that sector, that part of things in like the granular level, in a basic level? And then apart from that, I would continue supporting the growth stage startups in the way that I'm already doing. Yeah. And having more like VC engagements or things like that. So it has to be solid because there's not much players that's doing this, right? Yes. That's my pursuit for my business. But in terms of my own personal development, that's it. Like figuring out what's the meaning of life. Because eventually I heard that once you figure that out, you would win life. So I was like, okay, sure. I would take the chance.
Wow.
What is that? Yeah.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
I like the part where you said like you're trying to instill this idea of monetization of like
Mm,
what
mm,
doing all these things in children's and all that. I actually really like that because I find that I think not just in I don't know social enterprises but I think we always tell kids to dream and all this, but it's important to make sure that they know dreaming is important, but then also important to make sure that you will be able to monetize your dream. You'll be able to have financial independence while running your dream. That is actually very important.
exactly. It's like I don't want like people who solve um, people who are from my like I would say not born with silver spoon, right? They have these great
Mm,
ideas. They want to solve this problem for their community. I don't want them to end
mm,
up relying on grants to grow their business, not business, but their solution. I don't want them to die out of that amazing solution and leave it behind just because they do not know
mm,
how to monetize or scale their business. That's what I don't want it to happen, right? And I think my particular focus is Southeast Asia because I think it's very biodiverse and we have got a lot of great talents, a lot of talents.
mm.
But sadly, that we are relying on a lot of Western marine technologies and Western marine um, knowledge to to have that accessibility to grow on a higher level. Yeah.
Love that. What is the biggest crisis you had in the past 10 years?
Huh. I've never spoke about this before. I think
Okay.
it would be definitely like when at a very young age, right? When there is a lot of things that happen, it's just you close your eyes and open your eyes, things are just taken away, you know? Like a very important um, scene would definitely be during the time when I was there with my dad, and then he passed away right in
Mm,
front of my eyes. And I had to go through that entire thing at a very young age. He was just 20 years old, right? And then I was like, this is very devastating. It's not an easy process to deal with. And I felt that was
mm,
the biggest failure that I had in my life because I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't control
mm,
that. I couldn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? That I felt that was the biggest crisis that ever happened to me. But also, it taught me how to live. Like they would say, death teaches living, and that's a
mm,
Latin phrase. In Latin, it has
mm,
meaning. So it says the death teaches the living, which means that um, a lot of things in life we think is what it is. But I felt that that was the turning point or the inflection point when everything else just switched upside down. Yeah. And I felt that a lot of things I've learned, a lot of things
mm,
that made me think how to be dependent on myself and not be emotionally dependent on other people. Like how to be emotionally independent. People talk about independent as in financial independence or working, and then just being independent, materialistic. But what about emotional independence? It's a big thing. So then I realized that it forced me to move in that path. So then I realized that, okay, when I can do life without a very important person figure in my life, and I've seen it happen in front of me, that means that was the biggest crisis in my life, I would say. Yeah.
I see. I see. Interesting. Yeah, like earlier this year, my mom passed away as well. I
Mm.
totally, I actually, when you said it, I quite resonate with you. And then, the fact that you said, death teaches the living. Really, like my mom death actually made me realize like, yeah, I want to make sure that I don't die with regret. I want to make sure that I live my life properly. Like, yeah, I think that is the most important thing. Yeah, so that's why I kind of quit my job. Yeah, I broke up with my broke up with my previous partner, and then why I'm doing this podcast, why I'm like now pursuing something that I believe that I would truly enjoy. Yeah,
Yeah. It kind of changes
very
the way
interesting.
how you are. It's like a switch, you know what I mean? It's like all the while it's been like a white light, right? And suddenly when
Mm-hmm.
things just change. It just felt it's a different light. It's a different light that we are not used to it. You know what I mean? So when that happens, it feels like, how do I um, navigate through this weird feeling of emptiness, right? And then I decided that, hey, like, there is more towards life than just uh, having, like what you say, the relationship or like the people, whatever it is. So I removed myself from a lot of things. And I really isolated myself while I was building my thing. And then I realized that I need to really process because I don't have the time. Time is a very important thing. Do you think money is the important thing? Money is important. But if you don't have the time, then what else? So then I realized that I still have time. I'm in my 20s, right? So I realized this is a very important thing that everybody has to remember. Like in Asian culture, we always thought about study and then you graduate, you work, you save and save and save.
The default
The
path.
default path. You think that's the best success path. And that path is like something like once you save, you get a house, right? Once you save, you invest in a lot of things. Investing is good, it's fine, right? But I don't know, like I feel like it's a conventional method of thinking. But not like in the Western culture, it's very different. It's like once you study, you take a gap. They would by hooks or crooks, they will make you travel. They'd be like, just go explore the world, just go out there, do whatever you want, but just don't live in this one territory. You've seen that, I'm sure, Andrew. You definitely have conversations with such people, right?
Yes.
And they learn a lot of things. And when they come back, they come with a purpose. They come with the okay, maybe this is what I want to do. You know, so it's very different. So part of like figuring out yourself, like doing things out of your comfort zone, all these things, like thankful enough that we have the time. When we already, imagine when we are in the 30s, right? When things are much more different at that point of time, then it's going to be very time crunch setting. It's like it's not the same anymore. Maybe we have family, maybe we have some other things going on in life. So I believe that's why I always tell my friends, it's like when they ask me, like one of my friend actually asked me, I'm going through this journey of life. Like, I want to actually get into this mentorship. I tell them, just take time to yourself. Just take time to yourself, isolate yourself, do whatever you like as in that puts you out of your comfort zone. You'll figure out an answer. You do. And I believe in that so much. I believe shit in that so much.
Interesting.
Sorry.
Interesting. No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is very cool. Yeah. Yeah, I am quite glad that I took the decision to give myself this break as well. Like I realized, yeah, like either way, this question has to be answered. It's just now or later, or you hate yourself for the rest of your life for not finding the answer.
Correct.
So I was like,
Correct.
youth is capital. Why not
Yes.
I do it now? I'm not losing much.
And I
Yeah.
seriously honor people. Like I really honor them. Those that actually take the time to process and feel through things, even if it's little, right? Because I don't know, like yes, we have the youth, but I feel like if you use it properly to catalyze it in a proper way, then it's great. But if you use it to actually deny those things, deny those feelings, deny those emotions, and deny those processes of like, this job is not for me, but I'm still doing it because why? Right? And this relationship is not for me, but I'm still doing it. I don't know why, because I'm afraid of being alone. And then I just lost my dad or my mom, but I'm feeling empty. But this is my life. We're not processing it. We're not doing things to heal. We're not doing things to actually work on ourselves. So without this, how are we going to actually build our character? How are we going to make ourselves be ready for things that comes along the way? This is what I'm actually on a journey of like figuring out. What is it? Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And thank you for
What's the
doing
one
that,
thing
Andrew.
you
like thank you.
Sorry?
Thank you for doing that. Like like what you're doing right now. Like you shared about your journey as well, like running a podcast after losing your mom and taking the courage of still doing things and figuring out yourself, it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
yeah. Thank you. That's a. I'm happy to hear that from you. It's a great validation on on this journey as well. Because like definitely like this journey, like
I-
it's always tough. You get questions and then like people will be like, yeah, what are you doing? You're like
Can I ask you a question?
unemployed.
Can I
Yes,
ask you?
us.
So, what is the most disturbing question that you have received while you are in this journey, and how do you process it?
What's the most disturbing question? Honestly, it's quite hard. I don't really I don't really I can't really think of it.
What is
I
the
can't really.
what is the
Hmm?
question that made you feel like you are on the right path?
I am on the right path.
Hmm.
Um, what is the question? Maybe when people say, maybe a lot of people question me, why did I quit Meta? Because like Meta, big company,
Yeah.
great job and all this. Like, I think when every time when people ask me that, and I feel like yes, that is yeah, I'm doing something that is right because um it's a Meta is a default path, computer science, technology. But then I am glad that I really think when even though it is very, very rationally right, I gave it a thought and I realized it's not my thing. And then I took that step and went away from it and not get seduced by the fame, the money, and all that. So I think that was like it's not disturbing. It's just every time whenever people ask that, it reminded me of the reason why I left it, and then it's like, yeah, it is the right reason.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Nice. Right.
thank
Nice,
you.
Usha.
Yes, you're welcome. What is the one thing you love about yourself? It doesn't have to be a big thing, it can be a tiny little
But it's
thing,
nice.
small thing.
Already after hours.
It's
So like,
oh, I see.
yeah, it's real. Um, one thing I like about myself is the depth. I think is that
Mhm,
I'm someone who's um not just single faceted, and I like the part of
mhm,
me which is very multifaceted, and I appreciate a lot of things in my life. Those things that are in my life, it's um, important things like nature, right? How I can feel
mhm.
and resonate about it, and I also have an appreciation for literature as well. And I have like,
Oh.
yeah, I do. I like literature. Yeah, I like reading through those deep contextual literatures that makes me think,
Mhm.
and those that's written in the year 26, like even like way back then, 40s, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Some is like Tolstoy, and the other one's like Shakespeare, few other people. Yeah. So now I'm reading about the thing called punishment something. Yeah. It's by yeah those
Maybe once you thought of it, I
um,
can probably put the link in the description below.
yes. Yeah. So I'm
Mm,
actually like I'm more into that as well. So and also business, right? So I like the business side of
mm,
things. I like humanity. I like things about the nature. So I feel like I'm very multifaceted, and that's the depth. Like there's a depth in me, and I feel like every person. It's not just about one thing I appreciate is when I talk to someone, I don't look at
mm.
their outer perspective, but it's about like how they think, how they converse, and what are their ideologies about the world, right? And that's one thing which I really appreciate about myself. Mm.
Really beautiful. What is the biggest sacrifice you have made to be who you are today? I think anything that you felt like you missed out in life just to be who you are today.
I think it's if I constantly persevered to build my solar resin 3D wireless technology, I think it would have. I would have been a young millionaire. No kidding. My life path, like just because at that point of time there was no wireless charging at all, not even Tesla,
Mm-hmm.
nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I thought I had to give it up because the pressure from my family to focus on your studies. What's next? You're done with your high school. You need to get into your university.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. So I couldn't really balance it. I couldn't do both of it at the same time. So that's one thing which I've given up, right? And yeah, that's one thing that I
I like
regret,
that.
you know, doing it because I came in touch with one of the person who's building his space startup, right?
Oh wow,
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah,
Is it in Malaysia as well,
yeah.
or no?
It's a Malaysian
In
startup.
Malaysia.
Yeah,
Okay.
they even won the Startup World Cup, Malaysia chapter for last year, and they went
Mm-hmm.
to pitch in Silicon Valley last year. Yeah. So I came and I had a conversation with him. So he was sharing about his journey of building his wireless space technology, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then he was telling me the first idea he had was this. And that idea was the very same as mine, was the very same. And I laughed at him. I said, at that point of time, like a regret that filled my heart. I was like, ah, shit. Like, if I continue to pursue it, if I continue to do it, this speech with just number of people, because he started with that same idea. And then he, of course, pivoted because of
Mm-hmm.
constantly pitching to different people and industry experts, and definitely give you a different angle of thought, and they would give you uh, a perspective. Hey, there's more problems in the market. This is what we should address, right? This is what the technology gap
Mm-hmm.
is. So I realized that, hey, if I were to continue doing it, I would also
You could have done
my
it. I would
life.
have made it.
So a huge regret filled me so much. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I given up on at that point of time. I think I've sacrificed a big thing just because I wanted to sort of fulfill the needs of, like, okay, you need to get into your studies, right? You need to focus on your studies. Yeah. Which is not a good thing. Please don't do that. Anyone who's listening to this podcast, please continue pursuing your dreams and your whatever you think it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, that definitely like it gave you a good lesson, and then it definitely gave you a very good thing to share with others.
Yeah.
Like it's a very interesting thing though. Like what you sacrifice, people would say like your it's yours is like you sacrifice a bigger dream for who you are today. It's quite interesting because I think mostly most people would say like maybe I sacrifice the time going clubbing, sacrifice like my time where I can go traveling, but yours is like very different. It's like I could have like this dream, like I could have become a huge millionaire because of this idea I had, but yeah, because I did not pursue that. Yeah.
Again, I feel like maybe that
Mm,
didn't happen because if that happened, I wouldn't be able to go through life in this phase. Like I wouldn't have devoted
yes.
my time to learning myself or understanding why it's
Mm,
important to take a break. Like those kind of
mm,
things. And even like now, like the sacrifice that I'm making, that I think I have time
mm,
to make this sacrifice is to say, okay, I get this money and then I want to
mm,
travel. I want to do that for a particular
mm,
period of time until I feel I've achieved that spiritual journey of it,
mm,
that side of it. So hence, like
mm,
I'm just doing it. Like I think that's one of the sacrifices that I'm currently doing. So I feel that biggest sacrifice,
mm.
it feels a bit little there, but it doesn't really affect much because without that, I wouldn't be who I am also here. Yeah. Mm.
Mm, interesting. I totally agree with that because I have this funny thing. I this is gonna be exclusive right here because
Is this your first time
pre
sharing about this?
I yeah I recently only started okay, it's about my relationship.
Oh,
I only started recently sharing with more people after I broke up.
oh,
Yeah, but this I think this will be the first time sharing to the world for those who listen to it. So um after I completed my studies, I really wanted to stay in the UK. I'm very sure. But that time I was on a long distance relationship with my girlfriend. So I previously sold my startup, so I had some money, and then I had this idea that, I can just fund my girlfriend's education so that she can come here. Because I'm for sure not going back to Malaysia, and then she's in Malaysia, and then she don't have a pathway to come here yet. So that is what I did. And then yes, I funded her education, but then now, 2 years after, I broke up, and of course I don't need her to pay me back and all that, because it's totally fine.
It's
Like,
sweet of you.
of course you sorry.
It's very sweet of you, Andrew. Yeah.
I mean, the main thing I care about is that, like, of course, that time it was thinking that putting this money to hopefully have a life partner. But that money, when we think about the other way, that money investing into her, she's a very nice person. She's very nice. Just that our personality and vision didn't align. Knowing that I spend this money on her education, adding this education on top of her, I know that she will be able to add value to this world, add value to other people. Like, it's no harm. So I do not regret. I do not regret investing that money in her. But definitely, when you think about it, like, it's part of the biggest struggle when I was like breaking out. I was like, the I forgot what fallacy is that, like, you invested too much and then you don't want to get out of it. But yeah, like, many people, I thought of that also, like, oh my god, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I would have saved so much money. But now that I think of it, you can't say, what if I did not do that. Sometimes it's because of that particular moment that it propelled me to really want to get a good job. That's why I landed in Meta. And and that time I was very broke. Like, I took a calculated risk. I was even thinking the worst case scenario that I have to work in McDonald's, because that time I don't even have a job. I just have the existing savings investment, and then I was gonna pour all this into this idea. Like, my worst case scenario, I have to work in McDonald's, and then it will made it work out. But ended up, I found it. I got a Meta job, and actually right now, no worries. Like, right now, I actually ended up better financially, and like, in terms of intellectual and experience, um because of that experience. And recently I just went through a job application. I use this whole example as my learning on, like, people investing, because I think this is actually a very interesting experience, for like, that taught me about people investing. Yeah. So yeah, I think, like, everything happens for a reason. There is no what if we did not do that. What if I did something else? Like, it happened for a reason, and then definitely we learn from it. Yeah.
I I gotta say that you're a very good human being. I can sense it. Like, the way you actually put it, like, even though you got off a relationship, like, you did not
Mhm.
um portray the negative image, but you still have a high regard to the person. And then you didn't regret, like, why did you do this? You didn't feel bad, like, okay, I did this to this person, and then it didn't pay off in a value that you expected, like, okay, leaving long term or how to go about it. But you put it in a very nice way, and it's like, it felt like, yeah, good job. Like, yeah, you should have a pat on your shoulder and say that I did this for someone, and them growing, and them being who they are, and them adding value to whatever context it is. But it feels good hearing it from a perspective that there's nothing that you gain, but you do it very selflessly. And once when it ends, you don't have that, like how normal people would say it, right? Oh yeah, I broke up with this person. Then suddenly it just went sour, right? That the whole part of their roses, and like, oh, this person is nice, suddenly became someone who's like, what? Yeah, the way
Yeah.
you feel.
I mean,
Yes.
definitely, honestly, there is parts where I still, you feel regret, and you feel definitely
Mm.
slightly bad, or slightly bit of, I wouldn't say hatred, just that, coming off of that relationship, you reminded me of the bad parts of the relationship. But I mean, for me, life goes on.
Yep.
This, whatever happened has happened. You have to, and truly, lah, she's really a nice person, lah. Just that her in this relationship wouldn't work out, but her individually in the world, it's amazing. You choose to, I think we choose to see how we want to see the world. Yeah. Like I think it's important to see it the nice way. You will have to live with this for the rest of your life. So, why not choose it the nicer way? Choose it the more beautiful way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will.
Yeah.
Like even adding on to it, like people. I used to be someone who, when something happens, a bad thing happens in
Mhm.
that day, I just feel like it would drag down my energy for the rest of the day. But then, like, I came to realization, like, imagine a world, right, or an environment, like whatever you're doing, daily
Mhm.
life, right?
This will be the funniest, the funny part of this podcast is like the light just
What?
randomly
I want
turning
to like
off.
always hit the table, right? Like, come on, like work properly, right? Like, okay. So I was saying, so like imagine like the sun still rise, right? The
Mhm.
flower still blooms, everything around you still happens the normal way it is. Even there's a mistake, and without a mistake, the world will never end,
Mhm.
right? And I think like
Mhm.
um I've came to understanding that every day you're not going to have like happy moments, right? But it's so important to be who you are and to be so important, like, do not allow this energy to actually drag you down, no matter what it is.
Yes.
It can be a very big problem, it can be a very small problem. Problem is a problem, but how do you navigate through it? How do you still feel composed about it? Because I believe that everything has a solution except for death. You don't have a solution for that. Mm,
That is very true.
yeah.
That is very true. Amazing, Usha. Thanks a lot for all your insights, all your sharing, and really thank you for being so honest. And I believe it wasn't easy for you to share the crisis you went through as well. Yeah,
No,
I yeah. But yes, if the audience would like to, contact you, reach out to you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
they could reach out to my Instagram to see whatever
Mhm.
spiritual journey that I'm going.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah, you recently just had a tattoo, right? A new tattoo, right?
Yes, I had it. I had it. So, this one is actually like a mountain, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
it has like the year of my dad's passing, right?
Oh.
Yeah, and then why mountain? So this one I did it before I even started the mountain journey. So I felt like
Mm.
getting it because I liked the mountain part of it. I was so attracted to it. So when I got like more mountain tattoos like here and then here. But that was before I started my mountain journey, right? It's crazy that I was
Mm.
attracted to it already. So after that,
Mm.
the reason why I got it here is because I felt that the mountain is something spiritually aligned in a way that when you
Mhm.
talk about mountain, it's very spiritual alignment, aligning way of seeing life, right? And then I feel like it has
Mm.
ups and downs, like you look at the linear things, right? And so I realized that a lot of things happened in a way, a lot of things changed. It was not constant thing. But then I was still like, rock
Mm.
solid, like how mountain is, like that. And I felt it was very personal. Then the other part of it is, yeah, this is the coordinates of the mountain that I fell in love with, just the Mount Agung. Yeah, it is. It is the coordinates of
Okay.
the Mount Agung. And this is my calling thing. I really like
Interesting.
it because it means that I'm not sure if you know about this thing. Do you know about this?
No, I don't know about
So it's
it.
actually like when a lot of times um sometimes when we think that uh
Mm.
we go through a lot of mental health issues with kind of time when things were taken away from us. We think that's the time where we kind of like feel very depressed and we think that's the end of the world. But we choose not to end our world, but we choose to continue it. So semicolon means that it doesn't end with a sentence or with the incident, right? You keep going. It's a way of continuing your life and persevering through things. That's why. Mm.
I see. Very interesting. I think that's already a very interesting story and a very good reason for the audience to connect with you on Instagram.
Mm. And also my
Yeah.
LinkedIn. I mean, you can follow my LinkedIn.
Mm.
And keep in touch
All
if
right.
you're looking to collaborate or work together for very related stuff. Happy to.
All right. Okay, that's amazing. I'll drop all the links down in the description below. But yes, Usha, thanks again
Yes,
for
Andrew.
your time for joining on this podcast. I really enjoyed this whole conversation.
Me too. I felt like it was very a heart-to-heart conversation about not just about work, but it's generally about character development. How do we put ourselves out there? What are we? What's our person? And it actually made me learn more about what you do and why you set on this journey. Yeah. Thanks so much for
Yeah.
it.
All right. Yeah, you're welcome to. Okay, so yes, that will be it for this episode then. See you guys next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed the podcast, I would really appreciate if you leave us a 5-star review and follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Thanks again for listening to Gen Z Journey. We'll see you again next week. Remember to subscribe to get notified as new episodes come out every Thursday, and please share this podcast to anyone you think would enjoy it. This is Andrew Kwan from Gen Z Journey.